Hi, I'm Addison Townsend, and today me and
Mia Swisher.
will be doing our authentic assessment on genes and proteins. Hope you like it. Start off, we're going to do a little background on genes and proteins. So, genes are the basic physical and functional unit of heredity. Genes are made up of DNA, and every person has 2 copies of each gene. Each gene can either come from your parents, your grandparents, or anywhere in your family.
So Addie before was talking to you about genes. So I'm going to be talking about proteins and answering the questions that Mr. Boyd provided us for our authentic assessment. So a little background on proteins. They are very large and complex molecules that play many critical roles in the body, which I will get into in a second. Proteins are made up of hundreds or thousands of smaller units called amino acids, which we've talked about before. And like I said, they do many critical things for the body, and while researching, we found what a few of those things were. So the different things that proteins can do are antibodies, enzymes, messengers, structural components, as well as transport and or storage.
Now going to question 1. How does your topic relate to the big picture? So genes create who you are, how you look, and how your body functions. If even one is misplaced in your whole genetic makeup could be messed up, or you could be more susceptible to disease. Anything could really happen. This also relates to the big picture because genes really make up the big picture. Genes really make up who we are and really what we are.
Going into our first question, we did, how does your topic relate to the big picture? So we thought that proteins related to the big picture because without proteins, which this kind of goes into another question, but without proteins, the human, animal, and plants would all die. Proteins are a necessity, so the big picture is that nothing would be here without proteins.
Now we're going to go into a little commercial break put on by Addison and Mia showing what COVID-19 has done to kids. We are going to go into some examples of genes and proteins. This is a DNA strand. Each one of the DNA strands inside of your body holds your chromosomes and your genes. Your chromosomes decide whether you're a boy or a girl, and your genes decide your characteristics. So it's whether you have brown hair or you're blonde or you have blue eyes. These all come into one DNA strand which create you. We're going to go into some pictures showing the difference in genetics and overall just different types of genes and proteins. This is a picture of both Mia and I. As you can tell, I have curly brown hair with hazel eyes, whereas Mia has straight blonde hair with blue eyes. Now the cool thing about Mia is her genetics were passed down from her dad or her grandparents, whereas her sister's genetics, which they have curly brown hair, were passed down from probably her mom. Now, the cool thing about this is her genes were skipped over her sister's and came straight to her from her dad and grandparents.
Okay, so as an example to show proteins and why they're necessary in your body, I thought that we could pull up a photo of the food pyramid. So I'm going to throw that up right now. Okay, so by the food pyramid that was just brought up, as you've probably seen many times, the food pyramid incorporates everything that our body needs and what groups of food we need to survive. So protein is the last one, the one right above the last one is the protein. Proteins, like I've mentioned before, help the muscles. Protein food include like chicken, vegetables, all of that. And as you've probably heard growing up, that you need vegetables for eyesight, you need meat to muscle, which is why proteins are important for your body.
So now we're going to get into what would happen if genes ceased to exist. So without genes, we wouldn't have any characteristics. Like our hair just wouldn't be there. Our eyes would probably be either a different color or they just wouldn't be there. Our skin, it would be completely different. Everything about you would be completely different. Your genes are what make you you. It's what makes you different compared to someone else. So without those, then you just really wouldn't, you either wouldn't be different or you just wouldn't be there. Because of what genes do for us, they really make us who we are, and it makes us have different characteristics, and it makes us have hair, and they make us have eyes and different skin tones and all that stuff. So without genes, it would be like taking this rose right here and taking away the petals, because those are made by probably a crossbreed of two genetics. So you take out the petals, so just pretend like they're not there. So then you have the stem, which is different from other plants. So you just wouldn't have that because it's different, and it's made up of genetics, and it's made up of different types of genes that make the pointers, and it's different types of things to make it dark green, and different things to make these leaves look like they are. It's all different things into one. So genes are what make this rose. So without genes, you wouldn't have a rose. And it's the same thing with humans. Mia is going to explain what would happen if you take proteins away from us, or if proteins just weren't a thing.
So, going into our second question, what would happen if proteins did not exist? So that kind of goes into the first question that I mentioned. If they didn't exist, humans, plants, and animals would most likely die out. Just like water, your body kind of needs it to survive. So it helps your muscles, heart, blood, everything like that. The next question that we're going to get into is, how would I explain genes to someone who had never heard about them before? So genes, as we have discussed, create our characteristics. So how I would explain it is, if you look at a different person, or if you look at a flower or animal, each one is different, and this is because of genetics. It's because their mom and dad had a different pairing, or their grandma and grandpa had a different pairing, which made them unique. So if we look at this flower, and we're going back to the rose metaphor. So if you look at this flower has a different type of rose. It's a rose, and so it's different from a daffodil, or it's different from any other kind of flower because of its genetics. It has these little pokey things that make it different from other flowers. It has a darker stem. It has unique leaves and a very dark red tone. This is because of its genetics. So the genetics would create everything to make a flower or a person look like that kind of person or flower or animal. So really, if you think about it all together, then genes are like a book, like the book of Addie or Chase or Mia or Augie. It is all the same thing, but with different types of coding that make me look like me and what make Mia look like her. So our third question, if you've never heard about it, what would be some key facts that you would want to include about proteins? So what we wanted to include about proteins is that it's not something that only humans need. Animals and plants need it, because over time we've seen that a lot of people think that proteins humans just need, but animals and plants need it to survive. Thank you for watching our authentic assessment assignment, and thank you, Mr. Boyd, for watching it and giving us this opportunity. And now on to Addie.
Just as Mia said, thank you so much, Mr. Boyd, for giving us this amazing opportunity to share all our knowledge with you. We really appreciate this opportunity to feel like we're back in class again, and thank you for watching.